News 3 WSIL. Here's what's happening right now.
And good morning. Rain coming to an end, but tracking heat and humidity. We'll see if there's a break coming up.
And in our Friday headlines, early voting is underway in the Illinois primary. Plus, gas prices hit record levels. Find out if there's any relief in sight.
I'm ABC's Em Nguyen in Washington. The CDC just authorized new booster shots for kids 5 to 11 years old. How soon parents could see these in pharmacies coming up.
We've got you covered from WSIL News 3 this morning.
Well, good morning, everyone. It is Friday, May 20th. Thanks for waking up, starting your day right here with the 4:30 edition. I'm Dave Davis, joined by Storm Track 3 Chief Meteorologist Nick Hausen. Nick, stepping out the door to come to work this morning. Boy, I'll tell you what, the humidity is high.
Well, you know, in last night, pretty active weather moving through the area. Not everybody seeing rain. Generally, if you were along or even south of Route 13, very little in the way of rain. Northward along the I-64 corridor, though,
Busy.
you guys saw quite a bit of wet weather and even a few stronger storms, anywhere from, say, Chester to Coulterville, Illinois, seeing some of the strongest storms last night. Mount Vernon also seeing a pretty good storm and quite a bit of wet weather. This morning, the rain has come to an end. As Dave mentioned, it is warm. It is muggy. A warm front lifting northward. Lots of warm, humid air pushing north into the area. So right now, most of us are into the mid-70s. That's at 4:30 this morning. We're in the mid-70s, so it is very mild. And this afternoon, we expect strong winds from the south and west. High temperatures into the upper 80s. A dry day today. Now, we are tracking some rain chances for the weekend as a strong cold front makes its way through the area. We'll have the latest on what to expect coming up.
All right, thanks for that, Nick. One of our top stories this morning, pharmacies preparing to roll out new shots after the CDC officially recommended Pfizer's booster shots for children 5 to 11 years old. Now, this comes as COVID-19 cases are on the rise in children. ABC's Em Nguyen has more from Washington.
With summer approaching, so are concerns for another wave of COVID-19. Already, the country is averaging nearly 100,000 new COVID cases a day, infections quadrupling in the last 6 weeks. About 25,000 patients in the hospital, the highest number since mid-March. Now, the CDC officially signing off on new booster shots for kids 5 to 11 years old, at least 5 months after their initial shot.
The clinical trials did show an excellent safety profile. The side effects seen with this booster dose in this age group were very similar to those seen with, let's say, the flu vaccine, soreness at the injection site, in some cases some headache, fever, chills. Again, zero serious safety signals in clinical trials.
Pharmacies and health systems getting ready.
I believe our organization will be looking to start vaccinating as early as next week.
Still, health officials are worried for that age group, where around 70% of those children are not yet fully vaccinated.
Boosters are great once we've got everyone their first round, and I think that needs to be a priority.
The CDC also pointing to the vaccine's waning protection across all age groups, from 60% after 2 doses to 20% a few months later, though still effective against severe disease. And for those younger than 5 years old, the FDA reminding parents that Moderna's emergency use authorization application was just completed. FDA Representative Dr. Dorn Fink saying, "We are working hard to review the data and bring the request to the committee as rapidly as we can." In the last week, 39 states and territories have reported increases in hospital admissions of at least 10%. The CDC is now again recommending masks indoors. Em Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Well, early voting is underway for the June primary here in Illinois. Now, you have 3 ways to vote: early, in person, on Election Day, or by mail. Now, this is the first time Illinois' primary has been in June. Lance Meisenheimer, Union County Clerk and Recorder, isn't sure how turnout will be.
Now you're starting to see the signs up, people driving around, and I think that'll start piquing the interest of when the election is. Getting people to come for a June election is definitely something new. So I'm curious to see what the voter turnout does on that.
Now, there's also some confusion on the Democratic ballot. There's an objection to Governor Pritzker's only opponent. A judicial review today will determine whether Beverly Miles remains on the ballot. That means if you voted yesterday and Miles is removed from the ballot, you may have to recast your ballot. If you still need to register to vote, we have information on how to do that on our website at WSILTV.com. Well, nearly all students that are back into in-person learning, but the isolation and concerns caused by the pandemic, well, it left some marks. When it comes to the mental health of students, anxiety and depression are on the rise. In Southern Illinois, a recent survey showed 40% of high school sophomores felt sad or hopeless every day for 2 weeks or more in the past year. That's 5% higher than the state average. Some school officials say they have seen the change in their students.
I think in the last couple of years, anxiety has skyrocketed. And I think that students are struggling more with that impacting their day in and day out, from beginning with having difficulty coming to school all the way through once they are at school, being able to focus on their classes and their grades.
And we'll have more on how schools are trying to help students with their mental health coming up at 6. Well, now to the latest on gas prices. Just as Americans plan their summer vacations, the price of gas could go even higher. ABC's Andrea Fujii explains.
This morning, drivers are hoping someone can pump the brakes on rising gas prices as experts sound the alarm about a possible summer surge on the way.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And it just keeps going up.
Analysts with J.P. Morgan Chase are now predicting $6 a gallon gas by August. That would be a 30% increase from the current national average, as problems persist with the fuel supply chain, just as more Americans prepare to hit the road for summer travel. California has already surpassed the $6 mark, averaging $6.06 a gallon for regular. The rest of the country is averaging an all-time high of $4.59 a gallon. Taxi drivers say they're desperate for relief.
We really hurting. The people who using every day, we don't fill up once a week. We fill up every day.
With Americans struggling, the House approved legislation yesterday to crack down on alleged price gouging by oil companies. The bill would allow President Biden to declare an energy emergency and make it unlawful to increase fuel prices in an excessive manner. The bill now heads to the Senate. In the meantime, a majority of people admit gas prices are affecting their vacation plans. One survey found 70% of Americans say their travel plans have changed because of rising gas prices, an increase of 24% compared to last year. Added fuel costs also affecting grocery purchases. 55% of shoppers say they're changing shopping habits, including buying less steak. Nearly 80% of consumers say they bought less meat overall because they couldn't afford it. Andrea Fujii, ABC News.
Now we're going to take a look at the gas prices around our region here. We see Marion at $4.66, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is on the low side for gas. In Mount Vernon, $4.89, and in Harrisburg, $4.63, Paducah, $4.24, and then Cape Girardeau, $4.04. But I have seen gas as high as $4.80 this morning in Williamson County, so be prepared for that sticker shock if you do need to fill up today. Now, another expense on the rise, rent. A report from Realtor.com says the median rent in the U.S. more than $1,800 in a month in April. That's 17% that's up 17% from about a year ago. That's the biggest jump on record. Now, if it keeps going up like this, Realtor.com says you could be paying more than $2,000 a month by August. Good grief. I guess that's good news for landlords, but not for renters.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Of course, tracking quite a few strong storms yesterday afternoon, and as expected, not everybody seen a strong storm, and not everybody even seen rain yesterday, but parts of the northwest fringe of our viewing area, we're really talking about Randolph and parts of Perry County, catching quite a few strong wind gusts there. This is a picture coming in from Coulterville. Large tree actually falling down on, it looks like 3 different vehicles, and then right across the river from Chester. If you're familiar with this area, right across the Chester Bridge on the Missouri side, this was near McBride, Missouri, and this is a gas station that's actually been under construction, renovations there, and the awning getting blown over. We're tracking the threat for possibly a few more strong storms into the weekend. Of course, some more wet weather as well. Details on that coming up.
All right, switching to national news now. President Joe Biden is in South Korea this morning. This is his first trip to Asia since taking office. The White House says Biden will sign the $40 billion Ukraine aid package on the trip, but he's also looking to shore up relations and send a message to China. ABC's Britt Clement has more from Seoul.
President Biden touches down here in Seoul today, kicking off his first visit to Asia as president. Biden and South Korea's newly elected president will visit Samsung's largest semiconductor factory, one that will be replicated in Texas as part of Biden's push for homegrown manufacturing. Now, North Korea will obviously be in sharp focus. Pyongyang has ramped up its missile testing in the lead up to Biden's trip. South Korea says it has a contingency plan B if the North fires a missile during Biden's visit. After Seoul, the president heads to Japan, where regional security again will be front and center, meeting with the Quad nations of Japan, India and Australia, and announcing a new regional economic bloc to counter Beijing's influence in the Indo-Pacific. Now, on the way here, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, he downplayed comments from Beijing that warned that the U.S. was using the Taiwan card to further talks. Sullivan says they've offered what the White House is calling formulas to diffuse the tensions over Taiwan, but added that it was really up to China to dial down its actions and activities in the region. Let's see if this trip can pave the way to any new progress. Britt Clement, ABC News, Seoul.
Well, it's a disease that's rare in humans, but the CDC says a patient in Massachusetts is now being treated for monkeypox. We'll hear from the U.S. Surgeon General next on News 3 this morning. Stay with us.